Ladies and gentlemen, we are all in a pursuit. We are all chasing something, aren't we? We chase success, wealth, love, and most of all, we chase happiness. It's a natural part of being human, this idea that happiness is somewhere out there, something we must achieve, acquire, or reach. But here's the truth. The more you chase happiness, the further it slips away from you. It's not out there in the future waiting for you to find it. It's not something you can purchase or hold in your hands. Happiness, true happiness, is already inside of you. You see, happiness is not a destination. It's not something that arrives when you've reached the right milestone, when you've reached the perfect career or the ideal relationship. It's not something you get in the future after you've done the work or after you've fixed your circumstances. Happiness is an experience of being present. It is the direct result of who you are being now. Yeah. When you stop looking for it outside of yourself, when you stop attaching it to an outcome, that's when it emerges. It's already there inside of you, waiting to be realized. Most of us have been conditioned to think that happiness is a result of external circumstances. We believe that if only we had more money, a bigger house, the perfect job, or a better body, we would finally be happy. But that's an illusion. You've been trained to believe that happiness is something that will arrive in the future when you finally get the right things in place. But what happens when we stop searching for it? What happens when we stop chasing? The key is to shift our focus. Rather than trying to find happiness, we need to let go of that attachment to it as an external object. We need to cultivate the inner state of joy, peace, and fulfillment within ourselves. The most powerful tool we have is our mind. And the mind, when properly directed, can lead us to a profound understanding of this simple truth, that the present moment holds all the power. Every emotion, every feeling, every experience of joy or contentment can be accessed when we choose to be here now. You have to shift your energy. You have to understand that happiness is not something that exists in the future or the past. It exists in the now, and it is a byproduct of your energy, your thoughts, and your ability to surrender to the present moment. And when you stop searching, something amazing happens. You realize you're no longer waiting for your life to happen. You stop giving away your power to external circumstances, and you begin to claim your life, your experiences, and your happiness as your own. It all starts with awareness. You have the power to change your thoughts, to change the way you feel, and to change how you experience your reality. But it starts when you stop chasing happiness and start embracing the present. The more you create peace and presence within yourself, the more naturally happiness will flow into your life. So my invitation to you is this: let go of the search. Stop looking for happiness. Don't wait for it to be something that happens tomorrow. Know that you can access it right now. Your happiness isn't somewhere out there. It's right here, inside of you, just waiting to be realized. Stop seeking it and watch as it begins to unfold in ways you never imagined. Happiness is often perceived as something we must attain, a destination we reach after meeting certain conditions or achieving specific goals. This belief can create a sense of dissatisfaction as we become convinced that happiness is always just beyond our grasp. We tell ourselves that once we have more money, a better job, a perfect relationship, or the ideal body, then we'll be happy. This mindset keeps us in a perpetual state of longing, always chasing an elusive future version of happiness. But in truth, happiness is not a distant goal or an external achievement. It is an inner state, a way of being that transcends circumstances. It is about the present moment, not about what we hope to attain in the future. When we stop seeing happiness as something to be earned or found and start understanding it as an inherent state, we open ourselves to the possibility of experiencing it now. It is already within us, but we have been conditioned to look elsewhere. The search for happiness can become a cycle of frustration as each goal we achieve leads to the next one, and the promise of happiness remains unfulfilled. This pattern arises from the belief that our circumstances define our emotional well-being. However, true happiness does not depend on external factors. It comes from within, from our ability to shift our mindset and embrace the present. When we learn to stop searching for happiness, we begin to see that it is always available to us in the here and now. Happiness is not an end goal. It is a way of living, a way of being fully engaged in the present moment, appreciating the richness of life as it is. It is in the small moments, the subtle shifts in our thoughts, the awareness of our breath, the connection to our inner selves. Presence is the foundation of true happiness. Most people live their lives either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, often missing the richness of the present moment. We've been conditioned to believe that happiness is something that will come once certain conditions are met. But this belief keeps us focused on a future that is never guaranteed. The present moment, however, is where everything truly exists. It is where life unfolds, where experiences are felt, and where emotions are lived. When we are present, we are fully immersed in the now, free from the distractions of what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. This state of awareness allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves and with the world around us. Being present means being aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and our physical sensations without judgment or resistance. It's about fully experiencing the world without letting our minds wander into past regrets or future anxieties. The more we practice presence, the more we begin to realize that happiness is not something to pursue or wait for, it's something we can choose to experience in any given moment. Presence creates the space for us to notice the small joys, the simple pleasures, and the quiet moments of peace that often go unnoticed. It's not about waiting for something to change or for an external event to bring us happiness. It's about being deeply rooted in the now, allowing ourselves to feel content and at peace with whatever is happening in the present. When we practice presence, we stop chasing happiness because we realize it's always available to us. It is in the stillness of the moment, in the awareness of our breath, in the connection we have to our surroundings and ourselves. Presence allows us to align with our true essence, where happiness arises naturally. Awareness is the key to unlocking happiness. Without awareness, we become disconnected from ourselves and from the present moment, and we get lost in the cycle of external seeking. We look for happiness in things, in people, in achievements, but none of these things can truly provide lasting fulfillment. Awareness allows us to recognize that happiness is not dependent on any of these external factors. It is a state of being that we can choose in any moment. When we become aware of our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, we gain the power to change our inner experience. The mind can often trick us into believing that happiness is elusive, that it is something outside of our control, but awareness reveals the truth. Happiness is within. By bringing awareness to our thoughts, we start to see how often we create unhappiness through negative thinking, limiting beliefs, and emotional patterns. We begin to realize that the mind is not our enemy, but it needs to be trained to align with our true nature. The more aware we become of the stories we tell ourselves about our lives, the more we can choose to rewrite them. Awareness also helps us break free from the patterns of reactivity that often govern our lives. Instead of being swept away by emotions or driven by external circumstances, we can pause, observe, and choose how we respond. In this space of awareness, we begin to see that we have the power to direct our thoughts and emotions in ways that support our well-being. The more we practice awareness, the more we come to understand that we are not our thoughts or our emotions. We are the conscious observer of them. This realization opens the door to profound inner peace and happiness because we no longer identify with the constant fluctuations of the mind. Through awareness, we learn to detach from the external world's influence on our happiness and embrace the stillness and contentment that already reside within us. Mindset plays a crucial role in our experience of happiness. It is the lens through which we perceive the world, and it shapes how we respond to the challenges and opportunities that life presents. When we view life through a mindset of scarcity, limitation, or lack, happiness always seems just out of reach. We focus on what is missing, what we don't have, and what we still need to achieve. This mindset keeps us in a constant state of striving, never fully satisfied with the present moment. On the other hand, a mindset of abundance, gratitude, and possibility opens up the potential for happiness at any time. When we shift our mindset to one of abundance, we begin to see the opportunities, blessings, and beauty that already exist in our lives. Happiness becomes less about achieving something external and more about recognizing what is already here. The way we think about our circumstances influences how we feel about them. If we constantly tell ourselves that life is difficult, that happiness is something we have to fight for, or that we are not enough, we create a reality that reflects these beliefs. Conversely, when we adopt a mindset that aligns with joy, possibility, and gratitude, we begin to attract more of these experiences into our lives. A positive mindset allows us to face challenges with resilience and optimism. It helps us see setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities for growth and learning. This shift in perspective creates a space where happiness can thrive, not because the external world is perfect, but because we have chosen to see it through a lens of possibility and hope. Mindset doesn't just shape our thoughts, it shapes our emotions, our actions, and ultimately our reality. A mindset rooted in possibility empowers us to create the conditions for happiness right here, right now. Energy is the force that drives everything in our lives, including our experience of happiness. Everything around us, from the people we interact with to the events we encounter, is made up of energy, and the energy we bring into any situation directly impacts how we experience it. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions all emit a certain frequency of energy, and this energy influences our reality. When we are aligned with positive energy, thoughts of gratitude, love, compassion, and joy, we create an environment where happiness can naturally arise. However, when we dwell in negative energy, thoughts of fear, resentment, or anxiety, we inadvertently block the flow of happiness. We become disconnected from the present moment and from the joy that is available to us. The energy we carry with us is contagious. It affects not only how we feel, but also how others feel around us. Have you ever been in a room with someone who is radiating positivity, and suddenly you find yourself smiling, feeling lighter, and more at ease? That is the power of energy. On the flip side, when we are carrying negative energy, it can drain us and those around us, creating an environment where happiness is hard to come by. The key to experiencing more happiness in our lives lies in our ability to raise our energy. This can be done through practices such as meditation, exercise, spending time in nature, or even just shifting our thoughts to more positive ones. When we elevate our energy, we begin to see the world through a different lens, one where possibilities are endless, and joy is present in even the simplest moments. When we focus on nurturing our energy and creating positive vibrations, we stop searching for happiness outside of ourselves, because we realize that our energy is what attracts it. Happiness is not something that happens to us. It is something that is drawn to us through the energy we emit into the world. Fulfillment is not something that is found in the external world, but rather it is a deep sense of contentment and alignment that comes from within. Many of us spend our lives pursuing external achievements, career success, wealth, recognition, or approval, believing that once we attain these things, we will finally feel fulfilled. However, this external pursuit often leads to an empty feeling, as the fulfillment we seek is never truly satisfied by these external accomplishments. True fulfillment arises when we align our actions, thoughts, and desires with our authentic self. When we connect deeply with our inner purpose, values, and passions, we create a sense of fulfillment that cannot be shaken by the ups and downs of life. Fulfillment comes when we live in accordance with who we truly are, not in accordance with what society or others expect of us. It is about recognizing that the essence of who we are is enough, and that we don't need to prove our worth through external accomplishments. Fulfillment is also deeply connected to gratitude. When we practice gratitude for the present moment and for what we already have, we open the door to a greater sense of fulfillment. It is easy to get caught up in the mindset of wanting more money, more success, more recognition. But true fulfillment comes from appreciating the richness of the current moment. It is about acknowledging the beauty in the simplest things and realizing that happiness and contentment are not things we need to seek externally, but rather they are found in our perspective and the way we choose to engage with the world around us. Fulfillment is an inner state of being, one that does not depend on what we have or don't have. When we cultivate an internal sense of purpose and alignment, we begin to feel a deep sense of fulfillment that is not dependent on outside circumstances. Surrender is one of the most powerful practices we can engage in when it comes to experiencing true happiness. It might seem counterintuitive at first. Surrendering in a world that constantly encourages striving, controlling, and achieving. Yet surrender is not about giving up or resigning to helplessness. It is about releasing our attachment to outcomes and letting go of the need to control everything. When we surrender, we stop fighting against the flow of life and we allow ourselves to be fully present in whatever arises in each moment. So often we cling to expectations and desires, thinking that happiness will come once we have the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect circumstances. But the pursuit of these external conditions often creates resistance within us. And resistance blocks the flow of happiness. Surrendering is about releasing that resistance and trusting that life, in its infinite wisdom, is unfolding exactly as it needs to. It means accepting that not everything is in our control, and that is okay. When we practice surrender, we are able to let go of the need to force things to happen and instead flow with the natural rhythm of life. This shift in perspective allows us to experience peace in the midst of uncertainty because we no longer need things to be a certain way to feel happy. Surrender is also about releasing the grip on our judgments, expectations, and fears. When we let go of how we think things should be, we open ourselves to a new level of freedom and joy. This act of surrender brings us into alignment with the present moment where happiness resides. When we stop fighting against life's challenges and instead embrace them with acceptance and trust, we begin to experience a deep sense of peace and contentment. Surrender invites us to stop seeking happiness in the future and to recognize that it is already available to us in the here and now. Transformation is a process that begins from within. It's about shifting our mindset, beliefs, and patterns of behavior in order to align more fully with who we truly are. Many people are stuck in the idea that happiness is something they will attain once certain external changes take place. They believe they must wait for circumstances to improve before they can feel fulfilled. However, true transformation occurs when we decide to look inward and make conscious choices to change the way we think, feel, and experience life. Transformation is not a one-time event, but a continuous process of growth and self-discovery. It requires us to challenge old patterns, release limiting beliefs, and step into a higher version of ourselves. When we allow ourselves to transform, we are no longer limited by the past, the expectations of others, or the stories we've told ourselves about who we are. Transformation empowers us to break free from old habits that no longer serve us and create new, healthier ways of thinking and living. This process is deeply tied to self-awareness. When we become aware of the ways we've been holding ourselves back, we create the space for change to happen. Happiness then becomes a natural byproduct of transformation. As we shift our internal world, our external world begins to reflect that change. We start attracting new experiences, relationships, and opportunities that align with our newfound perspective. Transformation is not about waiting for something to happen outside of us, but about changing the way we show up in the world. It's about embracing the unknown and trusting that the journey of growth will lead us to a place of greater peace and joy. When we embark on this transformative path, we step into the power to create the life we truly desire, one that is rooted in authenticity, purpose, and fulfillment. Self-realization is the process of becoming fully aware of who we truly are beyond the roles, labels, and identities we've been conditioned to accept. For many, the journey to happiness starts with the recognition that they are more than just their thoughts, emotions, or past experiences. Self-realization is not about achieving something outside of ourselves, but about uncovering the truth of our existence, that we are already whole, complete, and inherently worthy. This process requires deep introspection and the willingness to let go of false identities that have been shaped by external influences. When we start to question the beliefs, assumptions, and limitations we've held about ourselves, we begin to access a deeper understanding of who we are at our core. This realization shifts our perception, allowing us to see that we are not defined by our circumstances, nor are we bound by our past. We are the conscious observers of our experiences, capable of choosing how we respond to the world around us. Self-realization brings clarity, peace, and a profound sense of freedom. It removes the need for external validation and approval because we recognize that we are enough just as we are. As we uncover our true essence, we begin to live in alignment with our authentic self, rather than constantly trying to meet the expectations of others or society. This alignment brings with it a sense of peace, as we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves or chase after external markers of success. Self-realization also connects us to a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment. When we know who we are and what we stand for, we naturally align our actions with our values, creating a life that reflects our true desires. Through self-realization, we let go of the illusion of lack and embrace the abundance of who we truly are, realizing that happiness was never something we needed to search for outside of ourselves. Gratitude is a transformative practice that holds the power to shift our perception of life and unlock happiness in even the most challenging moments. When we cultivate gratitude, we begin to focus on the abundance already present in our lives rather than what is lacking. Most people tend to focus on what they don't have, what is wrong, or what is missing, which creates a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. However, when we shift our attention to what we are grateful for, we change our inner energy and perspective. Gratitude has the ability to rewire our brains, moving us away from a mindset of scarcity and into one of abundance. It shifts our focus from problems to possibilities, from lack to plenty, from negative to positive. Each time we express gratitude, whether it's for the simple joys in life or the more profound moments, we invite more of that energy into our experience. This practice is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that even amidst difficulties, there is always something to be grateful for. Whether it's a lesson learned, a small victory, or simply the opportunity to grow, the more we practice gratitude, the more we realize that happiness is not something we need to chase or achieve. It is already present within us, waiting to be acknowledged. Gratitude shifts our energy from seeking external sources of happiness to recognizing the power of our internal state. When we begin each day with a sense of gratitude, it sets the tone for the entire day, allowing us to approach life with greater openness, compassion, and joy. As we express appreciation for the present moment, we begin to see that happiness is not a destination, but a choice we make in each moment. Gratitude teaches us to value what we have, embrace the beauty of the present, and trust that life is unfolding perfectly, regardless of our external circumstances.